Okay, I've got the fiberglass on now and the boat's all finished with the construction, and I'm going to be putting on a layer of this body filler, light body filler, and just basically using this to fill all the dents and any imperfections in the fiberglass, the cloth and the mat. It's hard to get a good smooth finish, but you can achieve that with that body filler. So you can see I've sort of filled all the little spots and give them a light sand and then a second coat of body filler. And then now I'm going to be using this spot putty. And the spot putty is just used to fill in all the little scratches from the sandpaper and any small imperfections that were left after the body filler was sanded. Once I get the body filler and the spot putty on, I will be putting on the gel coat. And the gel coat is just a marine grade white gel coat. The gel coat is just a two-part fiberglass resin and catalyst. And you can see at the back here, I filled a few of the holes that were in the back of the boat and just did a quick sand on all of this. So I'm basically ready now to do the spot putty, and then it only takes usually about half an hour or so for that spot putty to dry.
All right, so I've gone over the back of the boat now, just any of the places where I noticed there was some scratch marks and things like that. You can see here the swirl marks is from the sandpaper that I was using. So I started with a 40 grit on the back here, and then I went down to an 80 and finished up with 120. And I'm just going to let this speed glaze now dry, and then I can go over it just with a probably do like a 150 or a 200 grit just to smooth all that out. It sands quite easily. You don't want to put that speed glaze on thick, doesn't dry properly and doesn't sand very good either. Just when it's real thin like this, just to fill in any of the scratch marks is all you're looking for that to do. And you can go over the whole surface if you wanted to, but a lot of these patches here I didn't really need to go over because they were quite smooth already. As a part of the original boat. So I'm just going to let that dry for about probably 20 minutes, half an hour, and then I'll just go over it quickly with the little sanding block, and then I'll be putting on the gel coat at the back of the boat here. Okay, so there it is, all sanded down, and I'm just going to wipe this down now with a solvent, and I'm just going to basically be using some acetone in this case, just to get the little bits of dust off of there, so when I'm painting it I don't get all the dust in the gel coat. But basically now I can just run over this whole thing with a brush. And you can use a roller too, but I find that you get a nice, a smoother finish with the brush than you do with the roller. But I'll probably end up having to do 2 coats anyways. Right, so that's the next step. And when you sand this down, basically you just want to sand it down till you can kind of see through the red spot weld, or spot putty, sorry. And just the swirl marks are left. And any spots where you had to fill a little bit thicker than. And also when you do it, you should use one of these sanding blocks, so you don't dig holes with your fingers if you're just pushing with just the regular sandpaper. So I just use one of those sanding blocks. Same as what you'd use for drywall when you're sanding drywall. All right. So when you're using this gel coat, it's basically a 2-part. You got the gel coat, and then you have the catalyst. So basically, you just put, for this whole can, you're only going to put probably about maybe a quarter of this bottle. This is actually, I use this for when I'm doing the fiberglassing. I use a 5-gallon bucket, but you don't need very much of this. It's just sort of like a little squirt on the top, and don't mix up more than you think you can use in about half an hour. So I'll probably end up mixing like 3 or 4 times so that I can do the back of the boat here. Just because I don't want it to go hard while I'm still painting. Otherwise, it's just basically wasteful. And then you just have to buy more, and it's not that cheap to buy the gel coat. All right, so there you have it. There's the first coat of white. And once this dries, I'll leave it overnight to dry. I'll just go over it really quickly with fine sandpaper and take off all these little hairs or little bits of dirt that got in it over the night, and just make sure there's no little spots where I want to put any more spot putty, just to clean it up, and then I will be done. We'll be able to put the engine on then and mount the engine, and then start running all the cables and everything up to the front of the boat, and start working on the inside where we'll be putting the seats in, getting all the controls. I've already done the steering. The cable's right to the back here. Just got to put it through that hole there and mount the rubber grommet. But I'll show you that as well once I get the engine on.
So here's a few shots of the boat when it's all completed. You can see the front and the back where we've made the new engine well for the outboard. As well, here's just a side shot of the boat. You can see with the new top on it. Painted the deck, and there it is with the engine mounted. We also rebuilt the trailer at the same time, just so we knew we had a good trailer under the boat. And a couple shots here just launching it at the local lake. You can actually see at the back of the boat there, the engine's quite a bit lighter, so you can see the water lines come up about 1.5 inches in the back. So that will also help with the power of the boat, because we're putting much lighter engine than the inboard and the leg. So we should get better performance out of the boat as well. And here's a couple of shots of my dad just cruising past me at the dock. You can see it rides quite nice and level, and the boat actually topped out around 50. So it was quite quick actually. You could back right off, and the boat planed off quite nicely and cruised around the lake. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope this video gave you some ideas on your projects. Wasn't that an expensive project. It only was about $200 or $300, and it did take me probably about 5 or 6 days total time, but I did do it over a few months to complete the project. So if you like the videos, subscribe to my channel. I got lots more coming up. Thanks.